Welcome, welcome back, everybody. You're watching the MLG Anaheim 2014. I'm joined by El Capitan himself, who played in the open bracket as well as casting. You beat your teammate Vibe, but then had to face the Dong.
The Dong.
What happened against the Dong?
I mean, he's kind of my Brood War hero, you know, so if I'm going to lose to anyone, I'm happy it's him. And it was pretty good games, so I'm not too sad about it. And, you know, next time I'll get him, I guess.
All right, viOLet versus Hawk here. What do you make of this match?
It's a pretty good match. I mean, they're both obviously very strong players, but they're both very stylistic as well. Huck tends to stick in CVP or in PvC to low tech, from what I've seen mostly. So we'll see how viOLet adapts to that, because viOLet is not a player that strikes me as someone that would go Swarm hosts. And I think that that's the best way to deal with Huck's style.
Okay. You know, these two players actually right now are undefeated in the group. I believe viOLet with 3-0, Huck with 2-0. Both of them have only beaten Zergs. So as much as for viOLet it doesn't mean much here because he's up against the pros, Huck has shown great form against Zerg.
Yeah, but I mean, viOLet's really just solid all round, right? He's usually the guy that takes out Polt in the qualifiers. For example, for this MLG, he took out Polt, I think, in 2 of them.
Actually, let me correct that. Huck just won against Major, so both of these players are 3-0 in their group. That means whoever wins here is going to take a serious option on possibly taking that first place. I mean, there's still going to be matches later on. They would have to beat one more guy, and then whoever comes from the open bracket.
Man, whoever comes from the open bracket is going to be quite a formidable opponent.
Yes.
The open bracket is stacked. Like, I didn't think it would be this hard, but it really is. So a little bit too soon to say that they'll be first, but they'll certainly put themselves in a position to advance, you know, in a good spot. So
we see some of viOLet's stats here. A 57% win rate against Protoss across a few games. He's done pretty well at MLG events, actually, in that matchup. 27 and 16 in maps. Definitely a good ratio to have.
Yeah.
Terran seems to be his weaker matchup at MLG, but not overall. Yeah, that's actually some really sick win rates if you really think about it.
Yeah, they're really impressive. Yeah, and
some very good players just have like over 50%, like barely over 50%, but it's like 70 something, 50.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a really good player, you're playing mostly really good players. So it's pretty hard to go above that, even at the highest level.
Our first map here is going to be King Sejong Station. Are you a big fan of this map?
No. Are you?
I quite like it. I feel like it's good for many styles, whether you want to be aggressive or passive. You can take a third fairly easily. It's easier to scout than other maps. Watchtowers are a little bit irrelevant, but I've learned to deal with that. I used to think it's impossible to play without Watchtowers.
All right. I mean, the Watchtowers are there. They're just not that great. I think this map is pretty decent for things like Mutas. The fourth is always kind of awkward, both against Terran and Protoss as a start player.
Yeah.
So
which one do you go for? The middle, the one in the middle of the map, or the other one?
It really depends on what you're doing, I think. I think if you're going to be a little bit more aggressive, then the middle's fine. But
right. The players are ready. You can start the game if you want to.
You think so? Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
Let's get the game underway.
This will be pretty good.
Yes, I'm excited for this PvZ here. As I said, neither of those players have lost a series yet in this group. 3-0 and 3-0. Very impressive. Looking at the group, too. I guess you could say those are some of the better players in the group. It's Hug, viOLet, Mini Razor, Major, Hendralisk, and TLO. TLO actually hasn't won a series yet. Hendralisk is 1-2, Major is 1-2, Mini Razor is 1-2.
Yeah, I mean, the group is pretty stacked. Altogether, they're all pretty evenly matched, I think. It's a really strong group. It's surprising that TLO hasn't won a single series, to be honest. I would have thought he's one of the favorites, but it is what it is.
Huck seems to have a lot of momentum right now. Going to this match, he's been playing very well. He's been opening his mouth, you know, of the stage about it, telling me how confident he is, and it really showed in some of his games. So Without further ado?
yeah, he's really confident. I saw him at the bathroom just leaving. I was like, "Are you gonna win against TLO?" And he was like, "Easy." So.
Would you like to introduce our players here? At least
I would
one
love to introduce our players, man. In the top left-hand side of King Sejong Station, playing as the red Zerg, we have viOLet. It's currently teamless. And on the bottom side, right-hand side, has the blue Protoss. Give it out for Canada's favorite son, at least right this second. Huck. Of course, of Team Evil Geniuses. viOLet currently teamless, but
why don't you recruit him?
I don't know, man.
You're El Capitan. You can make anything happen.
Yeah, I'll just recruit him. And then,
root for viOLet, man.
yeah, I'll buy Jadong from EG as well.
Looks like he's going to go for a hatchery first. No drone scout. I've seen viOLet drone scout from time to time. Actually, I think the only PVZ that viOLet played at Battlegrounds just a few days ago was against Puck, which he won one series and then he lost the next one.
Yeah.
So he hasn't shown the best PVZ, but I guess Puck was, he actually played really, really good. This was my favorite series, the second one that they played. Some very, very long games.
3 hatch before pool. And
Yes.
no scouting. No scouting. This is a little bit surprising because like Huck is the kind of player that will go for cannon rushes from time to time. And you know, he just might, even if he scouts the third hatchery, he could just drop a forge and go for it.
Yeah, that would be typical Huck, but I think he's going to sit fairly late. But then again, I mean, as soon as he gets into the main, I talked about this with Nathanias earlier, he gets into the main, he sees that the pool started just now, he's able to realize what's up.
Yeah, Huck is the kind of player that he can be going for a gateway expand, and if he sees you're taking a hatch first, he will drop the forge. So it could apply here as well. You know, he sees the third hatchery, but viOLet is smartly chasing that probe away with the drone.
Huck doesn't drop the hammer, he drops the forge, man.
Yeah, man.
Not in this game though. Going to be getting the standard cybernetic score. And you think gateway aggression, as always here out of Huck, or does he realize that he's up against a viOLet who rushed 3 bases and who is usually not going to be able to do too much damage to, even though viOLet is skipping gas in this game. That means, I was kind of expecting double hatch, gas then pull, but since he hasn't made a gas, he's going to play gasless for a while. That means no link speed.
Yeah, he's going to have to rely a little bit more heavy on queens, so he'll probably produce extra queens off of his hatcheries and possibly try to connect his bases with creep a little bit earlier as well, maybe even before one of the first injects. Okay. So we'll see how he chooses to play that, but definitely, I mean, if he's going to play gasless, he's going to be able to account for it.
Very quick forge by Huck. He didn't have to get it that fast. Like usually when you expand like this, you add on 2 extra gateways, you make some units. He's getting a stalker as well. This is really Huck style, what we're seeing right here. He as well as MC love to open with this kind of builds where you get some stalkers, you get active and on the map, you force links. If your opponent has an overlord out of position, you snipe that, and then from there you just gain control of the game, gain control of the map.
Yeah, absolutely, and I really like that style, and I think it's going to pay off. I mean, there's nothing that's going to be able to negate the effect of the stalkers for a little while, so...
Oh, is he going to rush a third base? I see a probe being sent out here by Huck. No, he's going to send that around. You know, Huck does so much aggression with gateways, and when you do that, you have to proxy panels on the map. I feel like he's gotten sick at going around with his probe and not having that caught. And as I say, that this one is actually found by viOLet. Very, very well done. But that one overlord, in the meantime, is going to get sniped. Yep. Does he throw on pylon anyway?
I don't think so. There's 2 more gateways being added, though. I don't know. I don't think that Huck wants to be aggressive. He is adding the extra gases. So.
Third base, I think.
Yeah, third base. And I would have guessed Stargate or Robo, but with Huck, you never know. He might just stay on mass gateways and start warping in sentries to be a little bit safer.
He has a bunch of chrono boosts to save up.
And there's gateways and sentries.
Wow.
Wow.
I thought he was going to drop down the third nexus for sure. And Huck already mining the gases on that natural. This is a little bit surprising. He's not fully saturated on the minerals right now.
I think that was a misread by Huck. I think he thought that viOLet was being a lot more aggressive than he is, and that's why he delayed the third.
Okay. Was Warpgate delayed a little bit? It's finishing kind of late. 7:30. And he's not morphing his gateways right now.
Yeah, producing sentries at home as well. I guess to the nice scouting with the sentries. I'm not sure. They should be out by the third, to be honest. But luckily for Huck, viOLet speed is just starting now.
Yeah. The Twilight Council is going to start very, very late for Huck to be able to start his +2 attack upgrades. You see the Twilight starting as a +1 just finished. And yeah, those things not going to be able to do anything here. viOLet is just looking to try and drone up a little bit more if he could. He's getting 3 roaches. I wonder why. I mean, he's scouting as much as he can right now. He has the overlord above the natural of his opponents. And the Lynx did see that there was a third base. I guess with Huck, you never know.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I mean, he's the kind of player that will stay really low tech. I wouldn't be surprised. I think we're going to see Blink probably out of that. I'm not even sure, man. It's just he always plays low tech. I don't think we're going to see too much coming out of Huck here. The crowd is going wild, man.
Blink and +2, of course, the standard here, as well as the Robo to make sure he can get some observer on the map. I'm not a big fan of Huck's wall. It's not even...
Yeah, it's not even complete. It's
yeah, how do you close that?
I guess you just leave a sentry and have perfect force field every time.
That sounds like a horrible plan. That could go wrong very, very quickly.
Yeah. I mean, he can still add a pylon at any point, so it's not the biggest of deals. It looks like viOLet's posturing himself to potentially break the rocks.
Yeah, this is funny because viOLet did that so much in the past when he played against Puck very recently.
Yep.
And in the first time that they played, this worked out very, very well. viOLet actually maxed out on roaches and low-tier units. And just when it looked like it just wasn't going to do anything, and later on the Protoss was going to catch up on supply and have a much better army, viOLet did damage everywhere. He attacked in the natural, he attacked in the third base, and I think that's what he's going to want to look to do here. You see he's already regrouping some units around the third base of Huck, which already has 2 cannons, by the way. There is the Mothership Core and Photon Overcharge available for this. I love what Huck's doing with walling off that.
I really like it as well. Yeah, he probably watched the games against Puck. I mean, normally that amount of units is not very scary, but you don't know that they're going to hit you on the other side, so you move a little bit too much of your army, and
some sentries are going to start falling here.
I think this was fantastic.
He lost like 3, I guess, and trading them against roaches. The thing is, yeah, having hell here.
This was great by Huck, I think.
Oh, wow.
There's no fourth on the way for viOLet even. He's just producing units. All he has to do is continue to hold and he'll be in a great spot.
Oh, viOLet could have gotten that forge if he wanted to, but he's too busy trying to snipe those units here.
The sentries are out of energy.
viOLet is breaking through right now. The natural is going to be breached. The wall, man, the wall is horrible.
There's the strat, the perfect force field.
Yeah, and what about the perfect forge?
Yeah. That
+2 actually completed on time, and time warp or photon overcharge is available. He's going to use the photon overcharge on that natural.
viOLet's gaining a lot of momentum right now, Todd.
Yeah. Is he going to snipe the Robo? One of those Immortals got sniped as it was coming out. That was just really unfortunate here for Huck, who does have Blink. He's going to pull back right now. He's trying to get as many Stalkers out as he can. The Cybernetic Core will be sniped.
Ooh, that's rough.
And he's not able to warp in Stalkers right now.
Yeah,
every time he moves in there, the Roaches get close to the Stalkers and start sniping them.
He's fighting at the photon overcharge and 3 cannons, though. So yeah, he has to back out of there. I think that's the only way that Huck could have maybe started to stabilize here. Without a Cyber Core, what can he warp in that stops this?
Yeah, he's remaking the Cyber Core right now, and this is forcing a bunch of Zealots as well. Photon Overcharge will expire on the third base. The Roaches, man, they are breaching that base. Huck has lost a lot.
Yeah, earlier you told me that Stalkers were good against Roaches, Todd.
Not in this game.
All right.
23 army supply to 77. We have 27 Roaches against just 8 Stalkers right now. Probes are going to start dying left and right. I'm surprised Huck didn't evacuate this game. This base, sorry. Yeah, he was just way too stubborn with trying to defend that, and because of it, I feel like it's going to cost him the game.
Yeah, it looks that way. It's a little bit unfortunate. If there was a little bit more gateways, there was only he only took the fourth or the third of 4 gateways, I believe. So that was a little bit risky, maybe, considering that viOLet, did this pretty much exact same thing against Puck.
You know, this is something you should never do. When you lose a forge in your wall, you should never remake it in your wall. And yet, Puck did it here. His third is going to go down, but behind this we have viOLet taking a 4th base. I really like the macro hatch that viOLet went for, by the way, on the 3rd base. He's getting a Spire now, even if those Roaches don't finish the game, which they should. viOLet will have a follow-up.
The Immortal is so important here.
Yeah, Huck's trying to hold on. Second Immortals on
viOLet
the way.
identifying that the Immortals were not coming anymore, just overcommitting or committing as much as he should, rather, to this attack. So just a great job of identifying that Huck was weakened and smelling blood in the water after sniping that robo.
Huck really being stubborn now, trying to hold on in this game. viOLet's army movement is great, you know, he's not allowing the Protoss to force fill him easily. See this? Just one single roach was trapped, but actually it wasn't, so it just got away. And you know what, Huck is very low on force fills. I feel like viOLet could finish this even before making any mutas if he wanted to.
Yeah, that's. I mean, he could, but he could also just trade forever, and that would also be fine. Huck's gonna run out of force fields. He has no income. viOLet already saturating his fourth base. Huck is gonna be. It's gonna take forever until he even thinks about taking a third. So
yeah, he's dropping down a few additional gateways. I feel like Huck's plan here is basically to get as many stalkers out as he can. Try and retake a third, possibly. I don't think he all-ins on 2 bases here. Even though saying that with Huck is always going to be a wild guess.
Yeah, perhaps if in the back of his head, if he can do that and maybe force field perfectly and maybe viOLet stays on Roach only, you know, he might still have a chance, but no, not with the mutas in the way, man.
The mutas, man, they're going to get in position to start and flight into the main of Huck. He's not ready for this. His units are out of position. He doesn't even know about the Spire. He's kind of hoping secretly that viOLet didn't have any economy with this and just invested everything into unupgraded roaches, but it's not the case. viOLet is now on 4 bases, full saturation. He has a 5th on the way, and those mutas are just going to be in good game, I feel.
Yeah, and there it is.
viOLet really delivering in this first game here. Always was in control of the game. From that moment on, he tried to attack the natural of Huck through the right-hand side of the map.
Yeah.
Huck was on the back foot. The defense was good at first.
I thought it was good. I think the only problem is he didn't have enough units. I mean, the force fields were good.
The thing was making cannons.
Were good. Oh, he made 3 cannons at the... Yeah, perhaps if he made those at the front.
No, I mean, you shouldn't make that many. You should get 1 or 2.
Okay, but here's the thing. He didn't have gateways, so he needed to make the cannons.
Yeah, but if he didn't make the cannons, then he would have made the gateways. And then he would have had more units.
I guess those gateways kick in later, though. Those were reactive cannons. I don't think he was expecting.
With these builds, you go up to 8 gateways quickly, and then you're going to have enough stalkers usually to hold this kind of attack. But it's very easy to theory craft, obviously. The photon overcharge is almost always going to be forced very quickly, and you need to somehow keep your army grouped so that it's very, very strong. If you have to split, your army becomes a lot worse against those roach attacks.
And viOLet knew this, and viOLet exploited this with the back rocks. Like, that's the biggest deal in this game. It's not that Huck wasn't able to multitask with viOLet, it's that he didn't have units to leave both at the rocks and at the front. So, really good job by viOLet there. Just, you know, a very powerful strategy on this map. So, perhaps next time Huck should make a 5th gateway before taking a 3rd on that map, you know?
Yeah, I'll add it on just right after. Our next map going to be Habitation Station. What do you think about this map?
I like it, but let me tell you more about it after this quick commercial.